Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly update for Sunday to, November 24th, 2024. So I'm filming this the day before because I will not be here on the 24th because that's my dad's 80th birthday. So I will be with some of my family. We're going to the coast for the day just to hang out, and then I'll see everybody again on Thanksgiving. But there's a few of us that are going to go hang out with my dad on his birthday, so we're just gonna have a nice day. But I will have to leave really early from here to get down to their place before we cross, go over to the coast. So that's kind of why I'm doing this a little early. So technically, yes, it's Saturday. I don't usually film ahead for this video, but I wanted to get it done actually right after I got my hair cut and colored. So we're kind of going back to the blondes a little bit. So we'll see how this goes. Anyway, so this week was kind of a weird week. I had some medical appointments I wasn't fun about. It might get worse. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure. Work was fine. I had no problems with work. Supposedly my garage doors were supposed to arrive on Friday, and then they were going to let us know early next week if everything was there before they schedule us again. So we will see. Both my brother and I are just skeptical of the whole thing. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure it won't happen next week due to the holiday. Oh, he did my bangs work. Anyway, due to the holiday. So I'm not sure, because I'm not going to be here for several days, and neither will my brother. So or he'll be here for most of it, but you know what I mean. Like it probably won't happen until the week after at the earliest. We'll see. I'm really skeptical. Beyond that, I feel like there was something else I was gonna mention, but I can't think of it right now. So I'm gonna go through the books that I read, the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm gonna read in the next week. Reading wise, this was a really heavy audiobook week for the most part. And then I just kind of stopped audiobooks because, again, I do that where I listen too much and then I'm like, okay, I need a break. That kind of happened at the end of the week where I started a couple more books. So we'll see what I actually read in the next week. So I will be having to use my iPad to show a few books because some of them I don't own, because I did listen to a few from the library. I know I'm doing the read what you own, and I'm doing okay. I mean, we're not quite 3 weeks in, and technically I've taken 11 books off my TBR at this point, but 5 of those have been DNFs, I think. Or is it 4? Maybe it's only 4. Maybe it's 4 out of 11. Not doing so hot there. Anyway, so let's talk about my DNF. Probably one of the most disappointing DNFs I've had this year. I had one other, but it was also by the same author. So I have decided that this author isn't for me, and I'm very sad that I did not like A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. This is the first book in the saga of the Unfated. I started this, I think, 2 weeks ago. I had it from the library. The audiobook, so I listened to it, and the audiobook is great, actually. I mean, it feels very Norse flavored. This is like Norse mythology inspired fantasy romance, and we are following Freya, who is a woman who is fated, or is an unfated person. So she has a drop of god blood in her, and so that makes she has a certain ability that she has kept hidden for her first 20 years of her life, and then there's a prophecy that she is supposed to be with the person, whoever has control of her will control the nation. And so this man, this warlord pretty much has come to get her, and that's kind of where the book starts, and how he wants to connect all the tribes together, or all the clans together, and then they will be a nation, and then they can go after people that he wants to go after. Anyway, so there is some brutal point to this. The action in here is really well done. It is really well written. I will say the same thing as I did in the Bridge Kingdom. The world building is really good. The characters are fascinating, a lot of them. But again, I find myself unable to root for or enjoy the main female character. She just drives me crazy. This is definitely a personal thing. I think other people will really like this. I know this book has gotten a lot of mixed reviews on some people who like it and some people don't. But we all like disagree about what part we don't like. I personally like almost everything about this book, and it's such a pretty book, but I'm going to get rid of it because I got so far into this book, and every time I was enjoying it and things were going in a way, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting, I want to see what happens next, she would do something so dumb or say something so stupid at a moment where you're like, why did you say that? Why did you do that? There's all this stuff in her past I get, and I also get that there's all this stuff going on we don't know the answers to. She's kind of, it's out of her control, a lot of it, because she is forced into these things. But I feel like she focuses always on the wrong things, and then she's like, it's just, the romance, I don't have a problem with him. Like, as I said, it's kind of a taboo, not one that, you know, she shouldn't be taking part in, you know, because it's technically, with the marriage things, it's her stepson, but, you know, it's like, there's a lot of other stuff there. I don't want to give anything away here. The thing is, it's really her, and I really find that the main female characters in Danielle L. Jensen novels are just not for me. I think her world building is fantastic. I think her action scenes are really good. I really enjoy them. I like her main male character, you know, the love interest. I like him 100 times more than I like the female. And I don't think it's because either of them in both books, this one and the Bridge Kingdom, that they were powerful, they were feisty and things like that. It's just, I always felt both times that they are blind to what is really going on. Like that, okay, we're getting it all from their POV, so I'm not like adding things in. There's not another POV to tell me, at least in this one. In the Bridge Kingdom, there was 2 POVs, so maybe that one was a little different, but this one, there was just so much stuff that I'm like, why focus on that? Focus on this that is more important to your well-being and what's going on and how to survive in a better way than what you're doing. I don't know. There's just something about this. I tried so hard. I got to, let's see, I got to 219 pages when she did something again. I'm like, why? And I'm sure it might have resolved pretty quickly, but I just had lost patience. And that was it for me. So I got 53% in, and I DNF'd the book. So I'm really sad about this because, again, it is a gorgeous, this metallic edge is like one of my favorite things ever that I bought this year. And it is a really pretty white hardback with that on it. It's so pretty. And I think that there's such potential in her story, her plotting and her world building and stuff. And I just cannot stand her female character, her main female character. I mean, there's other ones you don't like, but there's a reason for that. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I should be rooting for her more. And I felt like every time I was ready to do that, she would just destroy any confidence I had that she really wanted to survive. So anyway, that is the only DNF I had this week. So yes, I will be getting rid of that book. That's so sad. It's such a pretty, pretty book. Anyway, so okay, let's talk about the books I actually finished. So I did finish The Navigators Children by Tad Williams on Sunday. I finished this like after I filmed, and then I sat on the couch and just, you know, I did word searches while I listened to it. This was so good. This is so fantastic for the end of the Lost King of Ostenard part of the series. Ostenard is, again, composes of 2 series. The Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series, which came out in the late 80s, early 90s. And then The Last King of Ostenard, which has come out in the last 5-6 years. And this was just so good. He is very classic epic fantasy, but it's just, I love the characters. I love how many characters we get to follow. I know some people find that confusing, that there's so many people and so many different places that we are at the same time, but it all converges by the end to this book, and it was just so good. And this one ended in a way that I was so surprised. Something happened at like the 66% part, and then I'm like, it's still going. Again, it is so Tad Williams. He always writes huge, massive books. And again, as I said, this was supposed to be a trilogy, which again was turned into 4 books. And Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn is kind of the same way, where the last book is twice as big as the other ones. So, you know, he has a problem with that, but he wraps it up so well. And Osternaard is my favorite fantasy world, as it's more of the characters. And just, I love that the first set happens when a lot of them are younger, and then this series takes place 30 plus years after that, and so much has changed, and it's just, and you get to know new characters and the new generation and things that happen. I love the way that this wrapped up. I do believe this is not going to be the end of Osternaard. I thought that this would be the very last book and he would be going on to other things, but I believe he is writing a prequel series, or at least a prequel book, to one of the groups of people in here. The Hinisteers, I think is what Hinister is the country. And I think it's called the Splintered Sun. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I just saw that on his newsletter recently. So hopefully that's true, that is connected. So we get more in Osternaard, but it'd be like no characters that we really actually know. So that'll be interesting. So we'll see what happens if that comes to fruition. But again, this was my most anticipated book of the year. I reread and then read Into the Narrow Dark before this so that I was prepared for this book. I am so glad I did my reread and, you know, caught up on this book so I could read this when it came out, because I started the day after it came out. I had the audiobook by Andrew Wincott, which he does the whole series except for one of the novellas. Somebody else does that one, but the prequel novella that you read before Into the Narrow Dark, Brothers of the Wind. But all the other books were narrated by Andrew Wincott, and he just does all the voices so well. I just knew who it was when he was speaking and stuff. He does a really good job. But Tad Williams is one of my favorite authors in epic fantasy. I still have one series of his that I have not read yet, which is the Shadow March series. So I'm hoping next year I can start that one. It is the only series I think that came out in the, I don't know if that was the late 90s or early 2000s, but there was a time period where I wasn't reading as much epic fantasy. I kind of burned out, and whenever those came out was when that happened. So I'm hoping to get to those so then I can say I've read everything by Tad Williams. Again, he is one of my favorites. Osternaard is my favorite. Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn is my favorite trilogy of all time. Yeah, nothing compares for me. But Last King of Osternaard is a great conclusion for these characters. I thought this was so good. It was so interesting how the titles came into all the books, and the Last King of Osternaard, what that means in the end. I loved that, yeah, the Witchword Crown in the first book, you don't really know what that means, and you don't find out till the end of the series. So anyway, I did really, really enjoy that. As I said, it was probably my favorite book of the year so far. We'll see. I'm pretty sure it's going to be my favorite book of the year, but we'll see what happens. So then I listened to a few audiobooks from the library. One of them was one I had on ebook. So this counts for my Read What You Own. I listened to Snuff by Terry Pratchett. It was narrated by Stephen Briggs. So this is the last of the City Watch books. It's City Watch 8, but in the Discworld, it is book 39. So I have read 39. So I only have 2 left to read, and I want to get them done before the end of the year. So this one I have, like I said, I own it on ebook, so I get to count it. But the next 2 I don't get to count because they'll just be library books. Probably audio. Anyway, so this one is a Sam Vines pretty much story, which I do enjoy. I just love him and his family, and they go to the country and they kind of fall into something's going on, and I don't want to give away too much. It was quite an adventure. It was really fun. I listened to this really, really quickly. I just was, I wanted to know what happened. So I just really enjoyed it. That's about all I can say about it. It was so much fun that I'm glad again, I'm getting to the end. I figure the City Watch books are the ones I probably will most likely reread when I go, after I finish the series, give it a few years maybe, and then come back and reread books. because the series that I enjoy the most are the City Watch ones, and then the Death ones are my next favorite. So we'll see. I might still go back and restart the whole series. I don't own a lot of them. I probably own, because again, this is 39, so there's 41 altogether. I think I own maybe a dozen of the books physically. I have a couple of them on ebook, but I got almost all of them from the library over the years, because one year I read like half the series and then I stalled out. I don't know why. Anyway, so then I did listen to another audiobook. This one was Novelist as a Vocation by Haruki Murakami. This one I listened to on audio from the library off Libby. And I listened to this because I am not doing well with nonfiction November. Everything I pick up off my shelf, I am not enjoying. And I'm just not, I think I was trying to force it because I haven't read much nonfiction this year. So I want next year to work more nonfiction into my reading. I didn't pick the right books, I think, this year, because I've DNF'd 2 of them already, and then the other ones I have, I haven't picked. So I picked this one up. I saw something. Oh, he has a new book out. That's probably what happened, is I saw he had a new book out, and I'm still kind of on the fence about him because I read him a lot when I was younger, and I still have his first 2 books in a bind up. It was Let the Wing Sing and Pinball. Oh, I don't remember what the number is. 1979? I don't remember what that is. I have that in a bind up. So I have those 2 short novels, and then I have 1Q84 and Killing Commodore on my shelf. So I don't have some of them, but I've read almost everything of his, and I'm trying to make a decision if I'm going to keep them or not. Anyway, point is, I listened to this one, and this was some essays that he did before 2015. This was published in Japan in 2015. So you have to take that into consideration, that this is quite a few years ago, and this came out in 2022 in translation. I know Philip Gabriel did part of the translation. I can't remember who the other, Ted something, I can't remember, sorry. So you have to look at it as this is before 2015, and his thoughts and remarks about things, because he has said, oh, I would never do this, but of course he does something. That's fine. It was a little thing. It was not a big thing, but this was really this was 11 essays about certain aspects of being a novelist, and how it was kind of telling his story of how he got into it, kind of on a whim, and he just, did it, and he got lucky, and how, it's really interesting because, again, he's had his popularity and his, not so great parts, and he did talk about some of that stuff and how everybody reads everything differently. And I think he had a lot of good points with being a writer and making it your vocation. I think he did talk on that, but I also got to know a little bit about him. And again, as said, he's one of those people who's kind of, not everybody likes his writing. And I did really like his writing about 20 years ago. And then the last 2 I read, I did not enjoy. And so I still have 4 more books of his on my shelf that I would like to get to, just to be able to, before I buy anything else or get it from the library or anything, I want to read the 4 that I own, and either decide that that's it, or I don't know, we'll see. It just matters how the next couple of books go, I guess. But I did want to listen to this on audio to get some nonfiction this month that I actually liked. I did like it overall. As I said, it was very interesting, and I thought it was a great short memoir-ish essays on writing and on himself. So I really overall thought that was good. Anyway, so I finished that. Then after that, I finished Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I picked this up after I finished the Murakami, and I just needed something light, and I had gotten this book from my birthday from Tia at Genres and Journals. And so, as I said, we've done a lot of buddy reads over the years, so we exchange gifts. So I got this one, and it's the first book in the Rebel Blue Ranch. Sorry. And it's the first book in that series. And this was really a fun cowboy romance. I have not read a cowboy romance, probably. I can't think of any on my shelves that I've read. I think the last ones I read were over 20 years ago. So this was, maybe that's being maybe I'm exaggerating, but I did go through a long period of time. If you've been here a while, you know that I went I didn't read any contemporary romances for a really long time. And I'm only just in the last year or two starting to read contemporary romances again. So I'm kind of branching out, and I thought Done and Dusted at the time was really popular. And so it was on my wish list, and she got it for me. So this was really cute. I really enjoyed this. This is a really fast read. I had the audiobook from the library, which I listened to a little bit at work, but I also read some of it physically. So I thought it read or listened well in both formats. I think you could do either or. I thought it was just a super fast read. And we're following Emmy, who is a horse rider who was on the circuit barrel racing, and she had an accident that has kind of made her not want to get on a horse again. And so she comes back to her family ranch in Wyoming, and she's just trying to figure out what to do with her life, because she has been not able to talk about it for the last month, so nobody knows that she's gone through this. And she gets back with her family, and she meets up with Luke, who is her older brother's best friend. And they've always been kind of I can't talk today. They've never really liked each other. They always brought out the worst in each other. But now they're in their, late 20s, or he's early 30s, and they both are like, whoa, oh, you're cute. Anyway, and it kind of goes from there. I think the chemistry is really good in it. This is very, very spicy. I was kind of surprised about how much, but I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, it was a little embarrassing at work. I listened to part of it because I'm like, oh, I'm glad I have my headphones on. Anyway. But I really enjoyed it. So I think I will definitely continue into the next book. Of course, I have to wait because I'm in the Read What You Own and I can't buy anything. But I did enjoy Done and Dusted, and I'm glad I got to it. And thank you again, Tia, for getting me that book, because I really enjoyed it. And I think if you're looking for a romance, a spicy contemporary romance, and again, I thought it was really light. I mean, there's a few issues, but nothing bad. I really liked the way the whole relationship and the family and stuff went. I really liked it. Anyway. And then the last book that I completed was A Desperate Fortune by Susanna Kearsley. This is the one I picked up last week just on a whim. So this book, again, I always put one of her books on my TBR shelves that are out by the couch, and this randomly I will pick up one of her books. I am still working through her backlist because I'm behind. This one was 2015, and it's the first book that's related to the Mary and Hugh series. So there's another book that comes afterwards that is part of it's one of those books where each person writes a different novella with different characters, like a timeline mystery series kind of, or mystery book. So I will probably try to read that in the next month or two. But this one came out quite a few years before that. So we are following Mary, who in the 20s? Oh no, I can't remember my timeline. I think it's 1730s, 1732. She is asked for, is the past timeline. So she is asked to be a companion to a guy that everybody is in. They're in France, and she is a Scottish descent, but this is after all the Jacobites stuff, and so she is grown up there in France, living with her aunt and uncle, and then she is asked to pretend to be a sister to this man who is wanted by the English for some kind of scandal. And so she is kind of dragged along on this adventure. She was just supposed to be in Paris for a short time and then come to a different town. And yeah, that didn't happen. It was so much fun. That part was so great. And then the present timeline was a young woman with or no, I guess she's in her, I think she was in her early 30s. Maybe she was because Mary was pretty young, but not, or she's in her, like, she was like 23, and I think the present when she was, or like, she was older, and she is asked to transcribe, or there's a cipher needed of this journal that they found by this Mary, and they wanted it for history, to write a history book on somebody who was kind of just not in the main crowd at this location in France, but somebody who was kind of more commoner. And of course it just doesn't go the way it is. And the woman has Asperger's. So again, as I said, I can't talk to the representation of that because I think that's kind of on with autism and stuff. So I'm not sure, but I thought it was really well for me represented. But I'm not going to say it really was. I thought it was really interesting how it shows her reacting to certain things that I would not react that way to it. So I really like the two timelines. I know a lot of people always like one more than the other. This was really funny because at the beginning, I really liked the present timeline over the past because I didn't really know where it was going. But as we got into the more adventurous stuff that happened in the past, then I liked that one more than the present, but I still really liked the present. So it was overall, I thought it was a good balance between the two. And I really enjoyed it overall. As I said, I think the past timeline, I was surprised at the way it went. And so I'm really excited to continue. As I said, I think I have that novel or novella that's connected with some other stories. So we'll see if I read the whole thing or I just read the novella that somehow connects to this one. And then I have two other novels to read of hers. And then also, her new one's coming out in March or April, and I've already pre-ordered it. So I would like to catch up by the time we get there, but we'll see. Again, I usually read one or two a year, and I'm pretty sure I read The Rose Garden with Tia earlier this year. I think that was this year. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so let's quickly run through the books that I've started, because I've started so many books. I am still in the middle of Goldfinch. So, by Raven Kennedy. So this is book 6 in the Play to Prisoner series. I hope to get to back to this week, and it'll be my ebook. I did want to say that, my old Kindle is dying, or it's glitching, and I've gotten really tired of it. And the Black Friday sale started on Amazon. So yes, I bought a new Kindle. It was supposed to show up today, and it's not. It's been delayed till tomorrow. So my brother will have to, watch out for it because I won't be to pick it up. Anyway, point is that I'm getting a new Kindle. I got a Paperwhite this time around because this is the cheaper version, and it worked really well for 4 years. But it's glitchy. I don't know if I did something to it or what, but I'm gonna get the slightly bigger and the Paperwhite this time around. Anyway, but I will read Goldfinch on that when I get it. So I'm still 126 pages in, so I still got quite a ways to go. So we will work on that. I did start 2 audiobooks because I don't know where I want to go. I have Foul Days by Genovia Dimova, which is the first book in the Witches how do you say that? The Witches Compendium of Monsters. And I think it's a duology. The second book, Monstrous Nights, is already out, which I didn't let myself buy because I hadn't read this one. I have it from the audio from the library because I'm trying it, because I did try it physically once and couldn't get really into it. So I'm going to read I've read like 17 pages. I'm going to try to read to 54 and see, so I have to read another and just try it out a little bit more to see if the audio works or physical. I was tandem reading this one. So we'll see what happens. This is, well, I'd say it was kind of more urban fantasy, but it's not, it's a different world kind of thing. And there's this town that's walled in because there's monsters there, and they have entered into the new year. And when that happens, there are 12 foul days. There's the foul days that happen, and the monsters pretty much rule this town, and the people there are trying to survive. And our main character, Kosara, is somehow there's the monsters all are crazy, are weird, like folklore ones, and then her ex, I guess, is like the king of them or something, and he comes for her every year, and they have to play a game, and most of the time she loses, but she won last year, so she's hoping this time because of that, she won something, and then she can use that with her witch powers to do something. But I have a feeling something's going to go wrong pretty early in this book due to what it says on the back, which I shouldn't have read because it was mentioned early in this book about something, and I'm like, no, don't do that, and now I know that she's going to do it, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. So we will see. It sounds like it should be fun. It says The Witcher meets Naomi Novik in a fast-paced fantasy rooted in Slavic folklore, and I just don't know if I'm going to get along with this. So I want to try a little bit more of that, but it's one of the books that I bought this year, so and again, it's a duology, so if I like it, then I can get the second book after my Read What You Own is over. So we'll try that. But I did start Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I have decided that I do want to catch up on some of the older Cosmere books before I continue on to Words of Radiance. I still want to get to Words of Radiance before the end of the year, but I'm not going to force it. I decided, but I have to read Elantris. Elantris is a book that I bought not long after it came out, because I saw him in Sacramento. He was there for a signing when Mistborn was just out, and my writing group used to meet at this Barnes and Noble, and was it Barnes and Noble or was it Borders? Oh my gosh, I can't remember where. I don't remember. I think it was Barnes and Noble, but now I can't remember. It's been so long. It was a long time ago. It was back when Borders was still around. Anyway, so I don't remember. Maybe it was Borders. Anyway, the point is that we were at this bookstore and we have a writing group, and he came up with Dave Wolverton, I think is his name. His other pen name is also David Farland. And so they came up and they talked to us. It was really cool. I do remember that. And anyway, I bought Elantris. I'd already owned Mistborn or had Mistborn, and I read that first. And then after I finished Mistborn, I went to try to read this, but I wasn't ready for this at that time. So I continued the Mistborn series instead. And this book kind of stayed on my shelf. I actually might have gotten rid of my original book that I bought. I can't remember now if I think I found a new copy, because I was like, well, I'm going to give it a try again, because I didn't really give it a long time. So I didn't give it a long time yesterday, Friday. I listened to it while I exercised. So I got 21 pages in. So I am going to try to read this. I might be when I drive in the car tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be one of these two in the car on the drive down to my parents' house, and then on the way home after we go to the coast. So we'll see. But I'd like to, if I don't get to that, maybe I'll read this during Thanksgiving. We'll see. We'll see where I'm at. Well, it just depends on how that goes. So I can't tell you what I'm going to feel like. And then the last thing that I started it this morning, because I'd finished A Desperate Fortune last night and I didn't know what I wanted to read next, which is why I started Foul Days, and I still don't know if I want to read that. But I got The Demon's Queen by Katie Robert. This is the last book in the Deal with the Demon series. I don't remember if this is 6. It's 5 or 6. I can't remember what number in the series is, but I've read them all. And finishes it out. So we're following Eve, who is kind of tricked into coming to the demon realm. And again, Azrael is the one who kind of directed all the other books. He was the one making the deal with the women to get away out of bad situations and then come to this world and then pair up with some, monsters. Anyway, it's just been fun. Anyway, so I'm only about 34 pages in. I got this morning. So anyway, I'm hoping to get, if not this done today, at least get most of it done. It is only 160 pages, so I'm hoping to get a good chunk of that done today. So we'll see how that goes. So that is all the stuff that I've read and what I'm in the middle of. What do I think I'm going to pick up? I don't know. I did see someone talk about Small Town Big Magic by Hazel Beck, so it reminded me that this still is on my 24 books in 2024, and it was also on my 2023 book list, or 23 books in 2023. So I I need to get this done. So this one is a witch one where a woman doesn't remember that she used to be a witch, and so something happened where she had to get her memory erased, and then something happens now where she starts to remember things. So I still want to read this. I know it's a series of at least 2 or 3 books past this, but because it's a small town, big magic, and she's like totally into the town. She's, you know, and her rival, I don't remember who it is. Anyway, point is, there's something in it. Anyway, and then I also got this ready to maybe try to read this next physically. I also have the audiobook. I bought it on not a Kindle, an Audible, you know, buy 2 get 1 for 1 credit or something like that. And I was like, I own that book, but I haven't even tried it, so it was not a good buy for me. But that is The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lind. This is one of the books, again, that I pre-ordered this year. That's really pretty, that I want to read, so before I can pre-order the second book. So like A Fate Inked in Blood, I read that because the next book is coming out next year, and I didn't know to pre-order it or not, which I will not be. But this one still has a chance, and they just, you know, they last week or the week before, they had released it. And this is like a alternate history urban fantasy in New York City with monsters. I'm like, why haven't I read this? So I have that ready. That might be the next physical book I pick up. If I don't know what I'm going to pick up. We're just going to read this today, and we'll see what happens. So I don't know. And then, as I said, Thanksgiving is coming. So I'm not sure how much. I probably won't get much read this next week. Let's just be honest. I might get audiobooks done because I'll be in the car driving a lot tomorrow, or, you know, Sunday. And then also a lot on Wednesday when I drive down to my parents for that. But then coming back on Friday, I'll also have some time. So I might get some audiobooks done. I don't think I'm going to get much physical reading done during a lot of that time. So we'll see. This next week might be pretty light. But we will see. Anyway, because again, Thanksgiving is, you know, the American holiday that we're celebrating this week, and it's a big deal. We're having about 30 people. So again, it's bigger this year only because it's my dad's 80th. So everybody's, it's coming since last year. Like nobody came, or, you know, everybody did their own thing last year pretty much. So this year, almost everybody that, used to come all the time is coming this year. So it's kind of nice. It'll be nice to see everybody. And we are not talking politics. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, so, I hope those of you in the U.S. are going to have a great week. As I said, some of us get some days off. I'm looking forward to a few days off. We'll see what happens. But beyond that, yeah. Well, let's just try to make it. I just have to make it through a few work days, and then I get off for 5 days, which will be nice. So, anyway, I mean, lots of family. Anyway, I think I've rambled enough. So, I will, I don't know when I'm going to get my TBR up. Probably next weekend. I don't know. It just, because again, I'll be busy with family tomorrow and through the, you know, part of the week. So that's probably the only other video I'm going to have out that should be out this week at some point. And then I don't know. I have a vague feeling like I'm going to vlog in December, but I haven't decided how I want to do it. If I want to do it, I don't know if I want to do daily. I think that might be a little much for me, but maybe every couple days. I don't know how you guys feel about that. So you'll have to let me know. Anyway, beyond that, I hope you guys are enjoying their reading and you don't have DNFs like I just had that were just emotionally, I was just so upset and on such a pretty book. But again, only my opinion, and other people really, really enjoy it. So Cooper is getting antsy here, so I need to go. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.